you have to get comfortable with going deep. You might be putting that off without even realizing you're doing it. Well, welcome to my channel. This is probably the only time I'm ever going to say welcome to my channel, not welcome back. Alright, I don't want this YouTube to be overly scripted or anything like that. I just want to show up. I know that I'm not the only one who loves these things. I'm talking planning, self-reviewing, personal growth, books, self-development, all this stuff that kind of intermingles into each other. And I just want it to be a place where we can talk about this kind of stuff, what it actually looks like when you apply it to your life. I never want to have like I'm always like, there's going to be some level of a filter, but to be honest, even in general, I'm a pretty open book. So I want to be like really honest, share my raw thoughts and feelings, like even if they are not cute. I've kind of been like that on Instagram over the last while at More to Life Kate, a little bit on TikTok as well at More to Life Kate. This is going to be a series that I'm going to do. So it is a book club, and my ideal for this is that like I'll say what book we're gonna be reading, and then every second week I'll come on and like we can just chat about it. You can be like, oh, this book is great, that book is great, but everybody gets different things out of it. Sometimes like your brain isn't quite ready to accept the message. So like if it's worded in a different way because somebody commented it or like you're just talking about it, we can learn deeper because of that if we actually discuss these things together. So the book that we're going to be reading first is Deep Work. Yeah, this is like one of those books that has come very highly recommended. I'm still pretty early in, like this is where I'm at. I've read like 45 pages, and we can kind of read it at the same time, and like we're in this little club, like taking in the same thought processes at the same time. I've always just loved that idea. I've always wanted to do my own like little book club, and I was like, you know what? Why does it have to be this big thing? Let's just do it on YouTube. So here we are. I'm going to share my thoughts as I've been going through it, and like parts that I've been like, oh, more people need to hear this. And you also don't have to buy the book to be part of this, because I'm going to be sharing like the biggest takeaways and shit anyway. So I'm going to be skipping the fluff and just saying like, hey, this is great. This is like whatever. Screens are turning off. Give me a moment. Okay, let's get stuck in. I have notes. Oh, so yeah, basically I took down like little bullet points. So I was like, oh, I need to talk about this. One of the first things I wanted to note is something from the book that says deep work is necessary to wring every last drop of value of your current intellectual capacity. When you're in flow and you're not like, there's no distractions, you just are fully committed to this one task or project. And that's what deep work is. And it's usually like a pretty decent chunk of time. Oh, I actually love this idea. Okay. So Bill Gates apparently has these think weeks twice a year where he isolates himself in like a lakeside cottage or something like that and does nothing but reads and thinks big thoughts. That is like, is anyone else as big a nerd as me where like I hear that and I'm like, that is the fucking dream. I would love to do that. I've literally booked myself into hotel stays where I've been like, all I want to do is read. I have no intention of leaving this hotel room. So doing it for a whole week, I think I need to do that. I think I would love that. Being in that space where you can just expand your mind and like nobody else's like limiting thoughts and beliefs are gonna bring you back down a peg or anything. It's like you literally just have like no limits on the potential of your thoughts. Like that sounds like the Next, if I organize my life in a way that I get lots of long uninterrupted time chunks, I can write novels. If I have constant interruptions, all I get is a bunch of emails I've sent to random individuals. Now I paraphrase this basically from the book, but that's essentially what he was saying. And it really got me thinking because how often do we actually give like hours rather than minutes towards solely focusing on this one task? Do we go to our phone every time we have a notification? Maybe we put out a TikTok that we're like, this is gonna hit, and like you just like you can't get it out of your mind, you keep going to check. The impact that is having on how much you actually get done is astronomical. This is something I speak about in actually a lot of the stuff that we're covering today is what I speak about in more depth in my course, The Art of Progressing, which I had a whole productivity module, so it's like pretty on brand with what we're talking about today. If you are a creative entrepreneur, solopreneur, or a content creator, or you know what, honestly, any job requires this, or any career where like you want to ascend to the next level, it requires this type of thinking, this big thinking, deep thinking, creative, inspired thinking, where you can go into a room and you just like go deep rather than wide. Like covering a bunch of different tasks is fine, and like sometimes we need that on like say a life admin day or something like that. But for the majority of work where you need to produce something and you want to produce something incredible and beautiful, you have to go deep and you have to be okay with that. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. But the antithesis of that, if that's the I'm typical. I start a book club and I start using words I don't really know what they mean.
Antithesis of that.
But the opposite of that is shallow work. They describe it as non-cognitively demanding, where you don't create much new value in the world and it's easy to replicate. Who wants to be known for that? I'd much rather be known for creating new value in the world and bringing about these new ideas and thinking about things in a different way than like, oh yeah, she gets a lot done, but it's like nothing new and it's nothing special. I mean, it doesn't feel good to me anyway, and I'm sure that if you stumbled upon this video, you're probably similar to me anyway. So I'm guessing you would be much the same. But I'm curious as to what you think about that. Now I'm gonna be really honest. There were just a bunch of pages of just watered down nothingness, in my opinion. I got so bored that I literally put this book down for months. Like, I actually started reading this months ago, and it's been sitting on my bedside locker, just taunting me. Or not even taunting me. I just, every time I saw it, I was like, ugh, I'm never gonna get through this book. It's so boring. But it was just like, I just didn't feel like it needed to go so hard into like this boring topic. I was like, ugh, just yeah. But I didn't let that stop me, because I knew I wanted to do this book club, and I knew I'd already started this book and I've already gotten good thoughts and ideas from it. So I was like, you know what, this has come really highly recommended, so let's just keep going, and I'm hopeful that it's going to get better. To be honest, even since that point it has gotten better, and there's more I wanted to talk about since then. So let's keep going. If you're trying to work deeply, like on a new complex skill, or let's say you're writing a very philosophical Instagram caption or whatever, if you do that while in a state of low concentration, you're doing something while listening to a podcast, or you have Instagram open, or you have TikTok open, or just even your emails or whatever. I have to read this part because it's like it's like neuropsychology, so the terms are intense. Essentially, you're firing too many circuits simultaneously and haphazardly to isolate the group of neurons you actually want to strengthen. So, how do I explain that better? You're like gently dipping your toes, whereas what you actually need to do to strengthen the neural connection to be able to do it better and be more inspired in that thing is you need to throw your whole foot in there. But you're only just like going like this with your toes, but you're going like that with all of your toes. You know what I'm saying? With those fish that like nibble and take all your dead skin off your feet, like if the goal is to put your whole foot in because that's going to get rid of the dead skin off all of your feet, then like that's where the result's going to come from. The result isn't going to really come from like dipping all of your toes in, but like just your toes. Then you're just going to have like nice toes, but like the rest of your foot's going to be dog shit. And then also, if you remain one of the many for whom depth is uncomfortable and distraction ubiquitous, I'm not even going to pretend I know what that means. You shouldn't expect these systems and skills to come easily to you. The systems and skills that you're working on, you have to get comfortable with going deep. You might be putting that off without even realizing you're doing it. Because I think about my work over the last few months, I might have even thrown more things into my to-do list just because subconsciously somewhere I was afraid of going deep. I know it's so crucial for me to go deep, but it has been scary. Like, I'm not even going to deny that. Now, obviously, I've still created, I've still produced, I'm still really proud of what I've produced. For example, The Art of Progressing is like an 8-week course. Like, I made that all myself and I'm really proud of it. But where in your life do you think that you're avoiding going deep? Have you been going deep regularly? Or have you been putting that off? Or have you been creating other things in your to-do list, like just so that you can avoid going deep? Because your brain is like, you know what, it's actually safer not to go deep, because then we don't have to ascend to new levels. And it's like this whole, everything I'm doing at the moment is tapping into this upper limit thing. You're only going to reach the level of success your subconscious is comfortable with and feels is safe enough. So if there's like a level of success that's beyond that you want, you're not going to get there unless you've healed the discomfort between that. So if you're avoiding going deep, maybe there's something deeper behind that. Like maybe there's like a fear of success or something. Did I ask you? Got a notification that I need to go to work. Okay. He did also put in this equation, which, okay, I haven't even fully thought deeply about this yet, but high quality work produced equals time spent multiplied by intensity of focus. Yeah. To be honest, I don't feel like that covers everything. There's things that impact how much time you can spend, and there's things that impact the intensity of focus. So I would hope that later in the book they're gonna give some guidance as to how to improve the intensity of focus. Like in my productivity module in The Art of Progressing, I talk about how productivity is all based on three things. You've got time management, focus management, and energy management. If one of those three things is not part of it, then you can't, like, how are you going to be productive? How are you going to be productive if your time management is shit? How are you going to be productive if you have no energy? How are you going to be productive if you can't focus? But I can see like where he's coming from too. Anyway, moving on. He did talk about this thing called attention residue, which I feel like is so true, right? Which basically he says if you switch from task A to task B, your attention doesn't immediately follow. And it's stuck thinking about the original task, even if that task was completed. And I can 100% say that I agree with this, because even what I'm doing right now, I'm filming this video about this productivity book. What I did before this was I filmed a true crime video for my other YouTube channel. And some parts of my brain are still thinking about that. The experience of me sitting in that different room and setting that room up and talking about intense true crime case. If you watched Our Father on Netflix, that's what I based it on. Anyway, you'll have to watch that video. I think it comes out, so when you're seeing this, it actually comes out tomorrow, but on my other YouTube channel. So I suppose I'll put that in the description below. I can totally see how there's this residue of attention when you switch from one task to another, because it's not like your brain can just like forget everything that you've been fully focused on for the last half hour, 2 hours, whatever. Like, it's gonna kind of leave some of that behind, and then it kind of gently follows after. You know what I mean? So let's say you're writing a novel. It is better to spend like your entire workday writing that novel versus doing 1 hour this day and then an hour and a half the next and then an hour the next day, because you're gonna have things that maybe you've done before that hour and a half, they're gonna be dragged into your thought process as you would have gotten deeper into your ideas and your thoughts. So anyway, next we have that working in a state of semi-distraction is potentially devastating to your performance. Let me check my emails real quick. Let me hop on Instagram and see if I have any messages. You do that thing and you come back. It's semi-distraction. You're not like fully in that zone of the task at hand. Honestly, a lot of productivity really just comes down to simplifying to amplify. Like, the less you can focus on at once, the further you will go with it and the deeper you'll go. And therefore, the better your results will be. With all of the productivity books that I've read, podcasts I've listened to, that is the overarching theme. Like, the more you can improve your ability to cut out the noise and the excess like bullshit that you really don't actually need, the better your results will be. So that's actually all I have for you at the moment. Every second week, I'm going to come on and like we can talk about what the points have been.
And I just want to make it known that what we covered today leads us right up to page 45. So if you want to take part in this and you want to be part of the discussion and everything, I'm going to be reading up to page 100 before the next video. So that's going to be our cutoff, and then we can have a little chat. And the link will be in the description below if you want to take part.
I really don't want this YouTube channel to be too much pressure, scripted. Like, I want to just like, I don't want to just like rock out with my and we can talk about fun stuff. It's going to be book club every second week, and then on the off week we're going to have like the other planning, productivity, life improvement stuff, which I'm really excited about. I'm really hungry, so I'm going to go. So I will see you next week.